iPhone 5S versus iPhone 6 versus iPhone SE iOS 11 Beta 4 speed tests. That video's coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to the iPhone 5S versus the iPhone 6 versus the iPhone SE iOS 11 Beta 4, with the intentions of showing you how far this iOS beta is coming along on all three of these devices instead of splitting it up into three videos. So let's go ahead and begin with a boot up test here of all three. I'm going to try to line these up as even as possible, as even Steven as possible, and see which one is the quickest to boot up here. We do have an A7 chip on the 5S, an A8 on the 6, and an A9 on the SE. So you can see all are now in their boot up process. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up just a little bit so we don't sit around here waiting all day for these iPhones. So you can see the iPhone SE is well ahead of the 6 and the 6, and the 6 is well ahead of the 5S. So the 5S looks to be the slowest device here of the bunch on this testing here for iOS 11 Beta 4. Now let's go ahead and confirm the versions on all of these iPhones. You can see iOS 11 15A 5327G for the 5S, and iOS 11 15A 5327G for the 6, and iOS 11 15A 5327G for the iPhone SE as well. So they're all on the same versions. Okay guys, so getting into the general user interface test, this is where I go ahead and check just the general applications, scrolling through, going through the control center. And let's begin over here on the 5S. You can see it is a slightly laggy, experience on here on iOS 11 Beta 4. You can see the weather does take a little bit of time to load, and the notification tray seems to not open from time to time here on the 5S. Now scrolling up, you can see that the control center was fine here, but I had to unlock the phone and go back in to get the notification tray to work here for the iPhone 5S, so a little bit slow there. Now what about, does it improve here on the iPhone 6? You've seen a little hang and glitch right there on the widgets tray there for the iPhone 6 in terms of the control center, slightly laggy in terms of response time here for iOS 11 Beta 4, and the notification tray works fine here for the iPhone 6. Now what about the iPhone SE? Now this feels much smoother than both the A8 and A7 toting devices here on the left. Here is the iPhone SE. You can see pretty smooth, no glitches here so far. So A9 devices, as I recommended before, are the best to run the beta on. So if you are running beta, if you got an A9 device, you should be fine, whether it's a 6S Plus, 6S, SE, or whatever. Even iPad should be pretty decent as long as they got an A9 and above. So the SE the best here overall in terms of the general user interface as well, even over the boot up test. Hey guys, so let's go ahead and show you that all these applications are closed out here, and we're gonna go ahead and run the speed test here between these three to see which one is the best here for Beta 4. So let's go ahead and go into calendar on both devices, and you can see the iPhone SE is ahead of both the A8 and A7 toting devices. Now the A8 and A7 seemed about similar there, but what about the calculator? So on the calculator, it looks like slightly ahead to the SE. 6 and 5S, very hard to see the differences there. Now what about the clock? So the clock is a little bit quicker there on the SE again. A8 and A7 looking very similar again. What about the camera? So missed that one on the SE. Let's go ahead and run this camera test one more time. Got to close it out on both the A8 and A7 devices, and let's hit camera one more time here. You can see camera is open first for the SE, right down the line A8 and then A7 chip, iPhone 6, iPhone 5S. Going into the Safari web browser, you can see, wow, it looks like the iPhone 6 was first to load it, but they were loading different sites. So let's be respective here and go ahead and run them all on apple.com. You can see the SE takes the healthy lead over the iPhone 6, and then 5S. So let's go in this Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson commercial here. That was a pretty great commercial. If you guys watched it, partnered with Apple, and I think he's making more right now. So shout out to The Rock, the people's champ. So let's go into the weather, and you can see weather over there on the SE first, and then the 5S, then the 6. So the 6 takes a loss here in this round. So you can see the 6 and the 5S about the same. What about Instagram here? So again to the SE. I mean, it's not that we didn't expect the SE to be quicker, but sometimes with betas, some phones might be slower than others. So iPhone 6 ahead of the iPhone 5S there. What about Twitter here? You can see iPhone SE ahead, then 5S, then 6. So you can see that the 5S is winning some of these over the 6. This is why I create these tests here. You can see the SE again taking the lead. So it looks like the SE is just going to demolish both of these phones throughout these rounds. But we can go ahead and see what happens here on Amazon. So let's go ahead and go into Amazon here on both devices, and you can see Amazon should load up first there for the SE, then the 6, then the 5S. So the 6 coming back over the 5S. So the 5S has been taking a couple rounds, then the 6, you can see very similar overall though. So let's get into this next test here where the 5S beats the 6 again. So I don't know how this is happening. AA chip is supposed to be 20% faster or so than the 5S, but it's not showing to be the case here. The 6 does show me up right there, wins one round again over the 5S. Let's get into the App Store now on both devices. You can see the App Store does fire up first for the SE, then the 6, then the 5S. So coming back home, guys, let's go ahead and head into Subway Surfers. Now this is the first game of this round, and of course we know the SE's taking it here, but we throw the SE in there so we don't have to do a separate speed test for the SE. You can see the SE is definitely ahead there, and now we have the iPhone 6 should be ahead. Yep, the 6 looks like it's going to take it, and now even with hitting OK and that little annoying pop-up, the 5S was still slower here. So right down the line, the 6 is a little bit faster than the 5S, but the 5S is right on its heels, honestly. The SE just kind of is the way to go in terms of speed here. So you can see the SE takes it over the 6 and takes it over the 5S with its A9 CPU. Coming back home here, let's get into these last few apps. Let's get into Dead Trigger 2. Dead Trigger 1 is not optimized for iOS 11, so I had to delete that and go ahead and download Dead Trigger 2 here. So you can see don't allow. SE slightly is ready to go almost, but we're kind of loading up the initial trailer here on the 6 and the 5S. So yeah, so let's go home here and let's get into a Geekbench. We will run a test later in this video, and you can see Geekbench does fire up there. So definitely, you know, pretty close there. In that one, I'd still call it to the SE though, my personal opinion. Getting into settings, you can see SE, 6, and then 5S. So wrapping it up, I would say it's right down the line. Once again, even here in iOS 11 beta 4, it's SE, 6, and then 5S here. So let's go ahead and run a multitasking. I'm going to speed these up, and I'm just going to hit the start, and we're going to check the time at the end. So let's begin with the 5S, going through the applications again. And you can see that it's taking quite a while to multitask this thing. Now, all the applications weren't exactly loaded in the background for the 5S. A lot of them reloaded here in this beta. So we got a final score of 2 minutes and 12 seconds and 34 milliseconds here for the iPhone 5S. Let's get into the 6 though and see what happens on the iPhone 6. So getting into the iPhone 6, let's see if anything improves here. So going through this one, it already looks a little bit quicker than the iPhone 5S, actually a lot of bit, but there's a little bit of a glitch here happening where the application was double loading. It's kind of weird, but at the same time, it still finished faster, a lot faster than the 5S with 145.91. So pretty slow overall though, and just watch this ridiculous performance here on the iPhone SE. So check this out, guys. Let's start this thing. This is insanely faster than those two devices. 31.06 here on iOS 11 beta 4. So those of you running SE, 6S, 6, 7, 6S Plus, you guys are in for a treat with iOS 11. Here you can see the Geekbench scores, 1290, 2232 on the 5S. Not too much better on the 6, but definitely better. And just crushing it over there on the SE over these other two devices. And it looks like these results are as expected. You know, still the SE is faster than both of these devices. The 6 is getting quite slow. I think the 5S has been slow for a while, and that was pretty much iPhone 5S versus iPhone 6 versus iPhone SE, iOS 11 beta 4. We know the champ here, and it goes right down the line. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, go ahead and click that like button for me. It would be appreciated. Comment your thoughts down below, feedback, other videos you'd like to see. I will catch you all in the next one. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.